Okay, so chapter 10 discussion, starting with, I think it was question 1, what we believe leadership is versus what it clearly and importantly isn't. Discuss the relationships between leadership and power as discussed in the text, and then compare that with my experience and explain the differences. So the book explains on page 362 that leadership is not a job title. So it's not just you're the manager, you're the director, so you're a good leader. It also is not just your personality traits or your birthright or your job, or like that you have charisma, things like that. So it's more a way of being with people that motivates them, encourages them to make changes and to work together as a team. On page 364, leadership is defined as a dynamic relationship based on mutual influence and common purpose between leaders and collaborators, in which both are moved to higher levels of motivation and moral development as they affect real intended change. So there's some key things in there that it's talking about. Well, communication is a huge part of being a good leader. Communication that's positive and open promotes, then it will promote relationship, which is really important for good leadership. It's again not just a job title. So on page 365 it explains that the job title is about status, but that does not equal leadership, and especially good leadership. Then it talks about legitimate power, which is just it's a position, it's a role that a person has where they do have the power to do things, to make changes, to hire people, fire people, etc., but they may not actually do those things. So there is that kind of power. And then there is also coercive power, which gives rewards and punishments to get people to act or make changes. So in my example, discuss the relationship between leadership and power and compare this with my experience. So my experience is that I have a manager who displays characteristics that are similar to what's listed under the Theory Y manager. Some things like motivates others to achieve goals, or believes people are motivated by achieving goals, and believes people actually want responsibility and are not like always trying to get out of responsibility. My manager assumes that I want to do more and have more responsibility and work more, and also opportunities to utilize the employee's intellectual and creative potential. So my manager is often looking for ways to enable me to do the work that she knows I'm good at. So she's a Y manager, Theory Y manager. We have set goals together. She trusts me to make the decisions about my work that will help me to reach those goals. She's always quick to respond to requests and follow through with them. She's very good at communicating and is respectful that, when a question is asked to her, usually via email, she's quick to reply to that. Even if she doesn't have the answer right then, she'll let you know that. The authors in our book attribute excellent leadership to effective communication and vice versa. So an effective communicator is often an excellent leader. And I believe that my boss has that attribute, like I said, and that's one of the main reasons that she is a good leader. She also has a lot of experience, years of experience leading and working with people. So that's explained as in the book as like emotional intelligence and just, again, practice of working as a communicator and working with people. So then the next question is tell about a terrible workplace team experience, a story about the team experience, and using terms from chapter 10. So ironically enough, this is maybe the negative part of my boss, but this situation happened right after she was hired as the leader. So soon after she was hired, she had to fire 3 of our employees, our team members. That didn't help kind of get her off to a good start with our, interpretation of who she is. So anyway, we had this Christmas meeting, and so it was shortly after the people had been fired, and one of them was there, so she knew, her end date was coming soon, and she came to the party, or it was a meeting, but also a Christmas party. Anyway, there was no acknowledgement of, her years of service, her hard work. She was a great employee. She just was down on the totem pole, is why she had to, lose her job. So it was awful to not acknowledge all the good work that she had done and how she had contributed to our team and to our community. That was not a good feeling. And then at one point there was a question asked of the team, kind of a team building question about if you had one wish for Christmas, what would it be? And people said things like, go on vacation, or, pay off my house. I remember someone had said, and something like, helping my parents to be able to live on their, continue to live independently. And then my boss threw out her one wish, which was something like end homelessness, or help a homeless person, or something like that. And it just seemed to not match the tone of everybody else's discussion and answer. And it really seemed to make everyone else's answer seem futile and unimportant, and here she is kind of high and mighty, like, oh, I'm so good that I would end homelessness when you just want to go on vacation, that kind of thing. So in this situation, there were a lot of dynamics at play. She was displaying, it felt like from our, obviously there's the difference in understanding of perspectives. So from my perspective, and maybe others, I don't know, she was displaying a very authoritative manager who has a high concern for task and a low concern for people. So in that she, fired people and didn't acknowledge how hard that was, I felt authoritative. And then in the situation of the Christmas party, it was, a situation where, according to page 373, that talks about situational leadership theory, where the manager or leader should be selecting the most effective communication style depending on the situation. So she wasn't doing that, so kind of failing at that. And as I said, she is a great boss, and I think just that those few things kind of got off to a bad start, but she has proven over time, that maybe that was misinterpretation, or maybe she was trying too hard to impress, people, but that was that. So those are my discussion questions. Thanks.